So what is the ego? Well, we all have fears, and we got to start with the idea of fear, because the ego is built off our deepest fear or insecurity. And that fear, underneath all other fears, is the fear of aloneness, or the fear of not belonging to anyone. And you might disagree on the surface right now. You might think that you're afraid of other things, but if you study yourself and you study your thought life, especially if you're in relationship and you get offended, at the bottom of all of that offense is this deep insecurity about being actually, ultimately, and utterly alone. That's what the idea of death is it's separation forever. That's what the idea of hell is it's separation forever. That's what all these different concepts in religion and philosophy, a lot of these in psychology, they deal with the sense or the feeling of aloneness and how we cope with that aloneness. And most of us are so terrified at such a deep level, we unconsciously develop an entire persona or identity off of that fear. And that identity is called the ego. That's what some people call it. The scriptures, I believe, call it the sin nature. Actually, the scriptures don't even talk about sin nature, but theologians call it sin nature. And the original sin is the idea that we left God, or that God is different than us. And from that insecurity comes all the other sins. And if you think about it, the lust for money comes from the idea of aloneness. The lust for the opposite sex comes to serve the idea of aloneness. All of these things that we do in the absence of our wholeness are the things that we're doing to try and fill the void of aloneness. So the ego is the box that you put yourself in, that you define yourself by when you are not free. The ego is the identity that you create, not that God created, but that you created to cope with the insecurity of that underlying feeling of being utterly alone. And when you wake up to this, it's the beginning of what some call enlightenment and waking up.